It's not going to be called Smart Gay Frogs, right? It can't be. There's no way we can let that happen.
Well, there's two. It's either Frogs 2 or Smart Gay Frogs.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the podcast where we watch a movie and dare to ask the question, what about frogs? We are three unpaid interns who have been locked away in a basement somewhere in Hollywood and forced to churn out sequels to movies that nobody asked for. So grab some popcorn and a hard hat to join us on the ground floor of Sequel Factory. I am Roger.
I am Jett.
And I'm X.
Ribbit.
Good cold open. Really cold. Is the coldest open just a hot open? Does it horseshoe around?
I like to refer to them as cold-blooded opens.
I've brought some... That's good. Well, since we're all cold-blooded, I have brought some frog facts to warm us up.
Tell us now.
Okay. Frog fact number 1. Are you guys ready?
Yeah. What if we weren't?
I'd leave. So, frog fact number 1. Did you know that frogs eat bugs and other small animals for sustenance?
I think I did know that.
Yes.
Yeah. That is their entire diet. It's like bugs and things smaller than them.
Well, it's like Roger's diet of Dr. Pepper and nothing else.
Man, I'll tell you, I thought you were going to say I eat anything smaller than me.
Dr. Pepper and anything smaller than you.
I'm currently drinking a Dr. Pepper as we speak.
If it'll fit in Roger's mouth, he'll put it in there.
Yeah,
anyway, so frog fact number 2. Did you know that frogs can breathe both water and air because of how God made them?
And that's a fact you found?
I just realized it.
Oh, you realized the fact.
Yeah, I was just really pondering frogs in the shower.
Gotcha. And on the 4th day, God made frogs like that.
God made frogs like that. And he said, screw it, both.
That was a silly voice on God.
And there, I didn't make it up.
God kind of sounds like Toad.
Came to me in the shower. That's what he said.
Toad.
Toad.
I tried to Google, do frogs breathe water or air? And then this AI crap popped up, and I don't trust it. I don't trust it at all.
Yeah, and it said, we don't really know yet. The answer is inconclusive. But some scientists believe frogs may have a hidden set of gills underneath permeable skin.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Yeah, straight from AI.
After watching this movie, I've decided to start going by Frogger.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we watched the movie Frogs.
Yeah, but what's your Jellicle frog title, Roger?
Don't do this to me.
Yeah, we watched the 1972, not at all classic, because I've never heard of this movie.
It's Frogs.
Frogs.
You all know it.
I'm sure people have heard of Frogs.
I came across this movie because I Googled horror movies without sequels, and Frogs popped up. And I saw that Sam Elliott was in it, so I was like, let's do Frogs.
Not to be confused with, I think, the movie Frog with an exclamation mark, starring Shelley Duvall.
Is that real?
I think so.
Movie called Frog.
Frog.
Was she the frog?
Ah, God, I hope so. Wendy.
Ribbit.
Ribbit. Frogs is it's a slasher movie, essentially, but Michael Myers is the environment. It's sort of an environmental slasher.
Yeah, not to mislead anybody with the title, but the frogs are not the only ones coming out here after this family of elites that are poisoning the environment in all sorts of kind of subtle little what's the word I'm looking for here? Allegories, I guess. Between
Sure. Yeah, kind of an Aesop's fable of deaths.
Yeah, you would be shocked, as I was shocked, to find how little the frogs do in this film. They are an ever-present sort of malevolent force in the background, maybe influencing things, but mostly being there as other creatures murder people in, I guess, terrible ways.
Sure.
Everything about the title and the poster is completely misleading.
Yeah. Incredibly so. In the way that
frogs.
During most science projects, like team science projects, I was attending to the presentation. I didn't do much of it. That is how Frogs is in Frogs.
Yeah, the frogs themselves. Although it is kind of implied between kills that there is a frog, at least one frog, that's sort of like leading the charge as this family slowly starts dying.
Right.
We focus more and more on one of them, right?
Shelley Duvall's character, of course.
Yeah, voiced by Shelley Duvall. All the croaking you hear in the background of this movie, and almost every second of this movie is Shelley Duvall.
Mm-hmm.
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, funny.
It's true.
It would be to make a movie like this and get like A-list actors, like a team, an ensemble of A-list actors, and all they get to do is make little frog noises.
Oh, is that an idea for the sequel?
I'm already gonna say no.
Yeah.
You know Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio?
No.
Kate Blanchett is in that movie. It's a stop-motion retelling of Pinocchio. It is fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Kate Blanchett is in the movie. She plays a monkey who does not speak.
What?
Kate Blanchett plays a monkey that goes,
Oh.
the whole film, the entire film. It's Kate Blanchett making monkey noises. And
That's
she kills
wonderful.
it.
Man, now I gotta watch this for the monkey Kate Blanchett.
Frogs. So the structure, the setup for Frogs is this dude is boating around and then gets
he's in a canoe.
He's in a canoe boating around.
Yes.
When these rich pricks like buzz him in their like motorboat, knocks him over. They like get him. They're like, come back to our plantation.
Island's a plantation.
It's an island plantation. They take him back and they get him to dry off, and then he proceeds to like meet all of these rich assholes being absolutely bizarre in the most sort of Get Out-esque tone of ways.
You say bizarre. I would say boring as all hell.
Right. Bizarre would have been interesting.
The human drama in this movie is
bizarre in the way that rich people actually are, which is incredibly boring and tacky and tasteless.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sure, yeah.
It's bizarre that they don't use their time on anything interesting. But yeah, it is a revolt of nature with no particular explanation, just gradually picking off these rich pricks. The first tangible threat in the film is a snake who gets shot by a gun.
This movie was so straight and boring. The only twist up to this point was that the photographer was Sam Elliott.
Yeah, he doesn't have a mustache.
The first death of the film, you might be wondering, could it be frogs? No! Spiders and the forest sort of swallowing up.
Oh yeah.
The moss falling on the man, the spiders being thrown.
Whoever was handling these spiders during the filming was trying so hard to get them into this guy's mouth the entire time because he's screaming so much, and like at least 3 spiders like land on his mouth but don't quite get in there. And I'm sure the handler was like, damn it.
I'll get one in there.
Yeah.
When I get you, Ricky, when I get you, Ricky.
It's also the only time in the entire movie that the forest itself is involved, right? Because these oh gosh, what would you call those? Vines, I guess, move on their own to trap this guy, and then tarantulas start coming down on him. But it's the only time that happens, so I don't know where they were going with that. But
I don't even know how the tarantulas particularly are gonna kill this man.
By choking him to death.
I will say, well, while watching this movie, I spotted like a total of maybe 3 actually harmless animals. Or no, sorry, actually harmful animals. The rest of them were non-venomous, right? Like, I think there's only 2 venomous lizards in the world, and they didn't get either of them.
Well, that's what makes it so chilling, right? It's these innocent ones that start coming after these people and are frenzied into a murderous rage, right?
If I see a horde of geckos coming for me, I promise I've got no cyanide sitting around.
There are 2 things a wise man fears: a storm at sea and the anger of a calm lizard.
I almost spit up my Dr. Pepper.
You have missed something, Roger, in your analysis. There is a lizard you missed. It is not venomous. It is not poisonous. It has no stingers nor barbs. It is the devious tokay gecko, which is the sort of orange and blue gecko that you see frequently throughout the movie. Tokay geckos are bitches.
Oh, they're mean.
They are absolute meanies who will bite and chomp and rend the terrible sourdough loaf. That's not in their diet.
Hide your fingertips, folks.
Hide your fingertips. They're not safe from the tokays. That's just a lizard fact for you that came to me.
So we get the mustard gas death right in the greenhouse, and then these lizards just know
more footage of the
mix
malevolent gaze of the frog.
Yes,
ominously present.
Oh man, and I'm forgetting what the next death was.
Leeches. A woman is terrorized by leeches and various. I think she's also bit by a snake.
Yeah, it's the same woman who is accosted by multiple snakes in trees and on the ground. She falls into a puddle, gets coated, laminated in leeches. That, by the way, she just kind of pulls off of her, which,
no.
You
don't want to do that.
So, look, as someone who grew up in Florida, this exact thing has happened to me before, okay? I'm being serious. After a storm, a couple of friends and I, we wandered into the woods or whatever, and it was swampy because it was a pretty heavy storm, and leeches were literally just falling from the trees, and water moccasins were jumping out at us from these puddles, and in the distance we could hear a mama gator kind of warning us that we were getting too close to her nest. So yeah, this kind of fun stuff happens in Florida all the time.
Oh yeah, this film was shot in Florida. I forget the
it was shot
name.
in Florida. And fun fact, the release date here posted on Wikipedia says released March 23rd, 1972, and it specifies in Florida. So
yeah,
I don't know if it got a wider release than that.
Oh, in theaters, it was only released in Florida? Oh.
Well, I don't know if that's true, but its original release date was at least in Florida.
Dang.
Gotcha.
Justice for frogs. Let's get a re-release. Let's get that back.
Well, that's what
the
the sequel's for.
Yeah, that's right. Let's do it. No.
All right, before we get on, there's a couple more deaths, but more specifically, I want to focus on the one that was the most exciting. And I had to make sure before we started watching this movie that no actual animals were harmed because, it's the 70s and all. But then as I started watching, I was like, no, these are all just boring clips of animals doing absolutely nothing until we get to the alligator.
Yes.
Right? And this man literally wrestles an alligator.
Yes. The alligator has a band over its mouth that you can visibly see to keep it from biting the stuntman.
I don't know what year animal rights came into play in Hollywood.
1973, unfortunately.
Of course. So, the alligator, I will say it was a small alligator, right? It was wrestleable.
Yes. I could
not
take
talking
that alligator. I'm going to be real.
Yeah.
But I will.
So, and that's a good metric. Any alligator I see, I think whether or not Jett could
straight
wrestle
up,
them.
I could body any of the animals in this film in any quantity.
I have an almost embarrassing knowledge of animals. I think it was the last recorded episode of Paranormal Dudes. X had to ask me the question, why do you know so much about fish? But every time a new animal was on screen, I would name it. I would shout out oh, that's a all this other stuff. And there were like a few very, very dangerous reptiles, specifically snakes.
Yeah.
Like a diamondback rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Crotalus atrox. But that is really it. None of the other animals, aside from obviously the alligators, were dangerous. There's a snapping turtle, and those are like, those can cause some serious damage. By no means do I think it could have killed that woman.
I forgot how she dies by snapping turtle. Or isn't it?
Yeah, she dies by snapping
tortoise, isn't it?
No, tortoises can't swim.
The opposite of what that
Well, this
is.
thing was freaking huge. So.
Oh, yeah.
It was a sizable turtle.
The rattlesnake did have its fangs removed.
Yikes.
Which I was like, why?
Yes.
Why are they doing a close-up of this thing with no fangs? Kind of defeats the purpose of it. But it was the 70s. The human element of this movie, like I said, boring. Boring as all hell. It's literally just the filmmakers picking up a piece to set up later and then forgetting that they picked it up and doing nothing with it. The other Maybelle. There's two Maybelles. One is a maid. The other one is just one of the family's girlfriend, black girlfriend.
Yes.
And they
That's
don't.
The thing is, I wouldn't say there isn't a genuine and not horribly handled, to my not great perspective, like race element in the film, which is interesting. It's subtle, but like
It's
not
subtle,
a
but it's
race
also
blind film in a good way.
Yeah, it's subtle, but it doesn't go anywhere.
Not
like they have
particularly.
Belle, who could kind of correlate what they're doing to this island and the island fighting back to, what they did to slaves and the slaves fighting back and all that stuff.
Yeah, so
but they don't do anything like that.
I wrote in my notes here that this entire movie is a metaphor for a proletariat uprising. It is, I think, overtly a movie that is much less about the environment and much more about class. Because, like, there's no meat to the environmental message. That's just like a plot setup. But the actual film is really about how these wealthy pricks, treat the help and other people and everyone below them in station as little more than creatures or animals or critters. Most of the movie, at least the early parts, is spent hearing these people complain about how loud all of the frogs are getting and how there's too many frogs out there and how to get rid of these damn frogs all over the plantation in a way that...
You're suggesting that the frogs are the working class?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I get that.
It's not saying much about that, but if you just kind of read it that way, yeah, because it is all creatures that can really do nothing to anyone on their own, but, collectively, cumulatively, they're able to fight back and completely shift the balance of power against their oppressors.
Which is why in the sequel, it's just going to be about animals being animals and animaling. There's going to be no underlying message, nothing like that. It's just going to be dumb, bloody gore and animals.
That's a pretty messed up way to talk about the proletariat, X.
So I do have a question about, and like we should move on.
Yeah.
But is it understood that the frogs are controlling the other
gotta
animals?
be, right? Because, there are more frogs than anyone else, but the frogs do the least, but the frogs are shown the most. Like, it's constantly cutting to little insert shots of the frogs watching with a malevolent gaze.
Yeah, no, like I said, it literally seems like it's the one frog telling all these animals to kill these people. And, the way you describe that, Roger, I didn't really think of it that way. But now, with the frogs in charge, it's totally just going to play out like Animal Farm, right?
Oh, it's just new
absolutely,
kings are the frogs.
Yeah.
Right, these are just the ones that are now in charge.
Okay, so this one is it's 3D animated. Who's Rihanna going to voice?
No.
Who's Rihanna voicing in this one?
It doesn't matter who's voicing what, because every single line in the sequel will be performed ADR in post.
Roger, that I hate to break it to you, that is how CG animated movies work.
Oh, shit. I'm an idiot. I was so ready to say my joke, I forgot yours.
Common mistake.
My bad.
My favorite death in the film is the second one, where man goes into like a little greenhouse to like pick some flowers, and there's a whole bunch of lizards in there, and the lizards don't attack the man. They kind of crawl around on these shelves that are all around the greenhouse and knock off bottles of mysterious fluid onto the floor, which all start instantaneously turning to vapor to poison and asphyxiate this man. This is some intelligent means of operation from these lizards.
Like, a lizard had to first close the door to, like, prevent ventilation.
Which is none of the other deaths in the movie are anything like that. The other ones are all just like animals ganging up on people. But, like,
woman gets bit by snake.
Yeah, woman drowns being attacked by snapping turtles. Woman gets covered in leeches. Man gets eaten by alligators. And then a
man gets poisoned in greenhouse
by the lizards and their incredible knowledge of how to create mustard gas from garden chemicals.
Yeah.
And apparently the ability to survive mustard gas, because they're still in there when they go to investigate later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then I guess death by getting sort of crawled on by some frogs.
So I think he had a heart attack. And the frogs were like, yes, we won.
We did it. We killed
Osama bin Laden.
we got him.
They leave the house. We got him.
Mission accomplished. All right, so how do we start this second one?
So nature fought back. There was a proletariat uprising under the leadership of these
Oh, you know what?
frogs.
Hold on. Before we continue into the sequel, it has to be said that the ending to the first movie implies that the frogs took over more than just this little plantation island, right?
Yeah.
They get picked up by hitchhikers, which, by the way, hey, can we get a ride? Sure. Yeah, why not? Okay, well, let me just bring my gun and sit directly behind you, right?
Fuck wild.
So Sam Elliott, the love interest, I guess, and two kids escape, and they hitch a ride at the end, and it's a mother and her son, and they mention how they haven't seen anyone in a while on the road, and the kid pulls out a giant frog, and he's like, look what I caught, and then it does the weird like synthesizer, like ding, yeah. and then the old man dies, but we're left to assume that the reptiles and such, amphibians and all that, have taken over the world.
All across the world. And it is animals. Animals rule the earth. The humans are dead.
Can I perhaps... Oh, the humans are dead? What's the conflict?
It's all... We talked about this. It's an animated film about creature drama.
It's just going to be Animal Farm with reptiles.
So the ones who were in charge, the frogs, right? They've been risen to power.
I think they gained the most.
All of the other animals.
The frogs gained the most intelligence first in some kind of like mass worldwide awakening event caused perhaps by a comet straying too close to Earth. I don't know.
Okay. And would the conflict of this movie be the other animals realizing that they got played?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, that tends to be what happens. So the frogs...
Or we can go the Planet of the Apes route, right? And they've enslaved the remaining humans, and then there has to be a human uprising.
See, uprising is the first thing that I thought of, was like there's a sect, like a collection of humans that stayed safe, right? In a place that reptiles can't go, Antarctica.
Oh, you're a genius!
Okay, so now it's turning into a mix between Animal Farm, Planet of the Apes, and The Thing.
Straight up.
That's all good so far. You haven't said a bad thing yet.
No, I think you've said a good thing. John Carpenter's specifically. I really like that. I think that's dope. I don't like the common idea. I think the frogs were the first to get hyper intelligent because they were putting chemicals in the water to turn the frickin' frogs gay.
Right. Gay and smart.
And smart.
A dangerous combination, according to the wealthy and successful.
So we've got smart gay frogs have taken over the world.
It's not going to be called smart gay frogs, right? It can't be. There's no way we can let that happen.
Well, there's two. It's either frogs 2 or smart gay frogs.
Well, I'll write it down.
We'll see where else this goes.
Oh, so okay, Antarctica, right? How are people going to get there unless they are filthy rich? So it's still these animals against the rich.
Yeah,
and that way we don't feel bad about the people.
They had their bunkers. Which is actually this maintains a very true element of the climate crisis in our world, which is that humanity is not going to die off when the climate gets really bad. It's just going to be the poor people.
Right. We're going to be weeded out by natural selection, but natural selection can't reach the ultra wealthy.
Interesting interpretation.
Okay, can I pitch this? Modern day Sam Elliott is still a freelance photographer
working for the frogs.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I guess. Man, I guess if civilization has fallen, there's no corporations for him to do.
He had a shotgun, so he can do whatever he wants, right?
No, I think because
he did shoot that alligator.
He's a smart man.
Wait, the alligator in that scene is so funny. There's a scene where in the first movie they're in a canoe, right? Because the motorboat has been abandoned.
They're escaping.
They're in a canoe, and all these snakes are in the water, and there's like alligators coming at them, and he picks up the shotgun from between the two kids, and he shoots at it, and it cuts to what I think is like a paper mache reptile that has like explosive red squibs inside or something. It's very clearly fake, but it's shown for like less than a second, so it tickled me really badly.
Sam Elliott is still alive, I think.
Yeah, he's still alive. Oh, you know what? When I was watching this, all I could think was that, like, he plays this like uncharismatic kind of grizzled. Is that the word I'm looking for? He's this dude who's like very stoic, right? And he's like,
fun pronunciation.
You guys are. I pronounce things fun. But he through the whole movie, he's like, you guys are disrupting the animals by spraying them with whatever, and they're gonna fight back eventually. And then they do, right? And he kind of saves the day for at least a handful of people. And the whole time, all I could think was, surely this movie ends with him escaping, forgetting all about that, and then turning into Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec. The Ron Swanson that he plays in Parks and Rec, not the Nick Offerman Ron Swanson.
I think
I know his name is Ron. Is his last name Swanson in that show?
Wait, is it both? I know his name is Ron. I'm not sure if it's Ron Swanson, but that's all I could think of. So what?
I like the idea of a complete shift in the balance of power, because the frogs have taken over. The wealthy have all retreated to Antarctica to their bunkers and their hideaways. But Sam Elliott I think he's an opportunist. I think he would be able to survive long enough to negotiate with the hyper-intelligent frogs once they develop language. Well,
that's what I was going to say, right? Is that he becomes hippy-dippy and he works for the frogs now.
He's a photographer, and he's sent to Antarctica to take pictures of nature. Ergo, the wealthy people.
Oh, because the hyper wealthy are now
the frogs treat it like a nature preserve.
Like a nature preserve.
So
right.
he goes to
these
study
frogs.
them.
These frogs. Before we go into the actual plot,
these frickin' frogs.
Are they just normal frogs, or
like frog shaped?
Like, or have they like evolved into more?
They're cane toads.
Okay.
They're cane
We're
toads.
just keeping them that way, right?
Yeah.
Right. Perfect.
Well,
Do they get to wear little suits though? At least.
Yeah, you can animate them that way. We can make that choice in sort of post, like, if we want to.
Okay,
we
we'll
just
change
got
it up
we
like
just got to get
Sonic
the
Hedgehog
actors
eventually.
in the studio riffing. We'll get
Okay.
we'll get Lord and Miller on it.
All right, Lord and Mill. I can get with that. So Sam Elliott gets to Antarctica, and then what happens?
Yeah.
Here's what I'm thinking. He goes in to try to get these photos and get videos and infiltrate human society once again, which at this point his English is really rusty. He mostly speaks frog, so he has to kind of warm back into it, and they see him as a little bit of a weirdo. In fact, it probably starts from the perspective of the Antarctic commune, and you gradually realize as they like find this guy out here and sort of like bring him into their compound, and they're like, oh my god, we didn't know that there were any survivors out there. You slowly start to learn what the world outside looks like. And Sam Elliott, like, he's practically nonverbal, but he's got a camera, and as he sort of like recovers from frostbite, he starts taking pictures, and people start to gradually sort of suspect him. And finally, around, I think probably people in the compound start disappearing, right? People start sort of vanishing, dying. Blood is found in the water supply. People don't know what's going on. And people start to suspect Sam Elliott is actually some kind of a killer. So they confront him at, we'll say, knife point. And he confesses, like, I don't know what's going on. I was just sent here to take photos. And they're like, sent by who? No one out there is alive. And he's like, no one human. And he croaks. I don't know, he doesn't necessarily. But, he makes a frog noise.
I like the idea of this playing out like
dramatic
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
That is the exact
Where you're kind of
tone.
like, the animals have taken over out there. That's why we stay in here. And the real twist at the end is that the animals didn't take over because they're just animals. And that the poor people are all surviving and thriving, and we've successfully secluded the rich in the uninhabitable part of the world.
Oh my god!
Everyone else is living happily, and everyone has a little frog as a pet.
You're so right. No, that's amazing. Okay, so here's what happens, right? In this compound, right, there's all the suspicions, all the 10 Cloverfield Lane kind of tone, and the wealthy people start going knives out, like backstabbing each other, suspecting each other, getting paranoid. People think they're hearing, like, frog croaks, and this whole time there's, like, it seems like there's this unseen, implied threat that you never actually see, but it's like, did Sam Elliott bring frogs and creatures into the compound to kill us? Because if the hyper-intelligent frogs get in here, we're all dead. So you get like a good chunk through the movie just like following these people like going crazy, and by the end they're like basically all dead. And Sam Elliott reappears and he's like walking over all of their dead bodies, and there's like one survivor, maybe like a child, right? Like there was one child and the child is innocent, and the child like looks up at them and he says, did you kill him? And Sam Elliott's like, no. Did the frogs? And Sam Elliott kind of like chuckles and he's like, there were never any frogs here. I was like, they did this to themselves from their own fear of what's outside. They ate each other. And he leaves and they drive out into the world outside and discover that it is like a socialist utopia outside, and that world peace has been achieved with economic equality among all races and demographics and classes, all because of a fake crisis of these hyper-intelligent frogs. It was all a hoax because the woke mind virus was being put into the water to turn the frogs gay. And it was all a conspiracy.
What show is this?
It was all a conspiracy from the woke mob to take over the world by displacing the bourgeoisie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially the idea of what we're doing with Mars, right?
What?
Like,
Yeah,
if we could just
rich
send
people to
all of the
Mars.
richest people to Mars,
We'll be fine back here, yeah.
Like, we'll just fix this shit.
Or it'll end up playing out like Wall-E or Blade
Oh, yeah.
Runner or all those
Stop
dystopian,
it, you're making me sad.
like 80s movies.
I wrote down on my little paper here, what about subplot of hybridization between humans and amphibians? And in my head, I saw Sam Elliott lean down to a beaker full of tadpoles that had human faces. What do we think about that?
No, maybe maybe
the rich are like trying to do experiments to see if they could coexist with the
super intelligent frogs
reptilians
outside.
and amphibians and all that stuff. Yeah, but this is all just part of their psychosis, right?
It could be. No, I mean, this is a different direction that we could take it. This is a different film, but it's maybe more exciting because Sam Elliott goes in and he genuinely is just being sent to, like, get pictures of the humans for the intelligent frogs outside who are living a great life out there in harmony with nature, like everything's good. But the wealthy people are trying to hybridize themselves with amphibian DNA so that they can take over and be superior to the frogs. And so while Sam Elliott is there, all of the people in this compound start turning into like John Carpenter-esque amphibian monsters. Like tails and gecko pads and slit eyelids like appearing on their faces, and they like start turning into these horrible genetic monsters. And Sam Elliott has to survive and escape and then try to return to the world outside. And it's sort of a narrative about the appropriation of the aesthetics of the poor by the hyper wealthy to make themselves feel better about their higher status, the way wealthy people kind of wear poverty like a costume for their own entertainment.
Right. Lets them feel more attached. Yeah. Grounds them a little bit, but it's like it's a false grounding.
Because they're still completely disconnected from actual humanity. So the aesthetics only, are aesthetic. Meanwhile, the true, sort of cruelty within and greed is revealed by the transformation.
So what if these wealthy scientists were trying to hybridize, like, not just like hyper intelligent human and amphibian combinations, but warriors that could, like, if you're gonna beat the toads, you gotta think like the toads, and we're gonna build an army of anthropomorphic reptiles to go in and whoop some ass, and that's
just 4.
Maybe a small battalion,
just a
maybe
small troop of 4 amphibians.
If we're making the same joke, it's got to be 3.
You're making a different joke. I do know the joke you're making, which makes more sense. No, you do yours. You do yours.
What are we gonna call this group?
Because I was gonna color code these 4 reptiles.
Yeah, I know you were going to.
But I assume that your sort of combat amphibians, we might call them, maybe are equipped with weaponry.
Could be. They're. I mean, they themselves are color coded, but it's not necessarily through their clothing, right? It is their skin. And like they would be able to jump really high. They'd be able to kick really hard.
'Cause they're frogs.
Their names would probably be really disgusting.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Which, I don't know, like fungus or phlegm, scab, booger, snot.
That's wacky.
That's pretty wacky. Something like combat frog.
Combat frogs.
Battalion frog.
Battalion. Now, are they cane toads?
The fighting hoppers. If they are toads,
it would be.
Then I don't
like
want
be battalion of toads.
Battalion, right. Toads meant for
Batal toads. We'll shorten it.
Batal toads isn't bad. X, what do you think?
What about something like fighty toads? Battle toads, or
that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's really dumb of you to say.
I am completely unfamiliar with Battletoads, I'm gonna be honest.
It's a niche joke. It's a brand that was born of Teenage Mutant Ninja
that's the thing.
Turtles,
I was
so-
going for the I was going for the more mainstream reference there
Yeah.
with the Cowboys of Moo Mesa. But
This is a
How
movie
dare you.
podcast, okay? Let's stick to the movie references, all right? We don't need video games.
Was there a Street Sharks movie? It's not important.
Oh man, we can incorporate
Well-
all these ideas into
We could. It is possible.
how we kill these rich fucks. That's all people want. They want to watch these rich people die.
Please.
It's true.
Please.
Unfortunately, we already named one movie, Millionaire Knife Fight. So
Billionaire knife fight.
Billionaire
You're
knife
saying
Oh, sorry,
it, yeah.
billionaire.
Billionaire Toad fight.
Oh.
What if? Okay, so like we're in Antarctica, a bunch of billionaires die. What if it's like?
They're all monsters. Sam Elliott survives and returns to the future space. But little does he know that within his like backpack they've hidden a little jar of tadpoles with human faces.
Right.
To infiltrate from below and become the nouveau riche. Yeah, this is a good metaphor. And okay, I've got a title suggestion.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank God.
Hear me out. Smart gay frogs.
Yeah. Okay. Right now that's the top of the list, unless X or I can come up with something better.
Could be frogs too.
Well, there is. I want to avoid boring titles like just adding 2 on there.
Sure.
We gotta clickbait this shit.
Frogs and Knuckles.
Now I see what you're doing here. Can I pitch The Revenge of Pickett Smith?
Who is
I
that?
forgot that was his
Sam
name.
Elliott's name in
That-
the movie is Pickett Smith.
That's and people
Well,
are gonna
he's
click
changed
that
his
episode.
Or I mean, it can
That
be shorter.
Dude, that makes it sound interesting.
Pickett Smith's Revenge. A dish best served cold. Best served cold? Revenge on
A dish best served toad.
best served toad? Frog legs.
Frog legs.
It's like long
Frogs.
legs.
Frogs.
You know what, guys? I hate
Frogs
to say it, I
legs.
think it's probably going to end up being
Smart gay
frog.
frog. Shit!
Even though the frogs are all in their imagination.
Yeah,
as we'll find
that's
out.
true.
Or they're in their
Uh,
DNA.
A dinosaur
ooh.
DNA.
And now it's a
Jurassic
narrative
Park.
about compulsory heterosexuality.
This podcast is weird.
We've gotten
I bring a very
philosophical
different-
on this one.
I bring a very different thing to this than you two do.
Well, I mean, I don't bring shit to this. As I've said, I'm here to yes and I think I inherently am just good at pitching ideas for movies because I like movies so much.
And that's all it takes.
But I never write down notes, and I never have anything thought out whenever we come to this. It all just flows.
My only note is
And Roger's here.
Yep.
is within ellipses the malevolent gaze of the frog.
We'll write that down and not do anything with it.
You know, when we first started this episode, I was thinking about like what if humanity moved to like air cities, right? Like above the surface, like
There's still birds.
Zeppelin Town.
Birds, dude.
And it's so funny you two just said that because I wrote cats and I wrote ... frogs ... birds, but that's an Alfred Hitchcock film.
It could easily
Oh.
be in the same cinematic universe as Frogs.
What is Roger?
It is a very
the-
similar film.
Right.
Oh my gosh, we used to watch that YouTuber that would rate the worst movies ever made, and there was the one about the birds. Do
Birdemic.
you remember what that was? Birdemic.
Birdemic,
That's
yeah.
right.
Awful.
We can add that to the cinematic
awful
universe.
movie.
This Frog sequel and Birdemic are intertwined. We don't have a budget for real animals this time, and obviously we don't want to endanger any real animals, so it's all going to be completely CGI.
Well, yeah, it's a
frogs are gonna look
CGI
pretty-
animated flick. Did you guys
pretty
forget that?
As Jett has mentioned,
Well, the frogs are, yes.
No, the whole thing.
he wants Sam Elliott
Elliott's going to be CGI.
to be CGI.
I want
we'll
Sam Elliott to
mocap
be the
him.
only non-CGI aspect of the movie.
How-
Everything else can be CGI.
Oh, like a Space Jam.
Yes,
Yeah.
This is just what the world looks like from the eyes of Sam Elliott.
That's why he's grumpy all the time.
Yeah, dang. Can you imagine if
Is he?
Roadhouse was like that?
I can't imagine that. Who are you talking to?
It's beautiful.
I don't like Roadhouse.
Really?
Yeah.
I love Roadhouse.
The original one. I watched the little... what would you even call that? The one with Jake Gyllenhaal that they just released?
Oh,
one,
I
yeah.
didn't see that.
Yeah.
No.
And I disliked the original one so much that I had less than zero expectation for the new one. And it was okay. It was just fine.
Oh,
In my
we're
opinion.
stupid. We could have been talking about Toad House this whole time. God
Ugh.
dang it.
Okay, well, there's another possible title. I guess I'll decide in the edit.
It's got to be Smart
Toad
Gay
House.
Frogs.
But there's also the fear of frogs called Ranitophobia,
Ooh.
Great title.
which I feel like could work because we're talking about how society gets like basically kills itself because they're afraid of frogs.
True.
This is true. But Toad House is more fun.
Toad House is pretty good.
There's not really a Toad House in the film. It's not much of a
Well,
house,
the
and they're not
whole-
much of toads.
The whole bunker is Toad House because they're... I can't think of a pun.
What about like tadpoles out of controls?
Tadpoles. Maybe it's the North Pole and not Antarctica.
Oh, it could be. I mean, either or. It doesn't really matter. I chose Antarctica because
Yeah.
if global warming affects it, there's still land beneath it.
I guess there's the South Pole as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think people are... But if you just call it Tadpole, I don't think people are going to know that's a pun.
You'd have to have the L shaped like a stripy pole, right?
That's a movie where Santa's a frog.
Santa Frog. That's the new name.
Now, if frogs take over, would frogs have a Santa?
Would Frog Santa exist?
Would there be a frog Santa? This is a fun new...
Oh my god. Frog Santa conquers the Antarctic.
I was trying to tell someone at work about Santa versus the Martians or whatever that movie
Conquers
was
the
called.
Martians.
Santa Claus
Yeah.
conquers the Martians.
Conquers
yeah.
the Martians. And I really couldn't do it justice because like they were under the impression that he was fighting them. Right.
Mm-mm.
Well, we were too
Uh-huh.
from the title.
Yeah.
It would've-
No, he just endears himself to them,
makes
really.
the most sense, yeah.
Well, he does fight at least 3 of them, though.
Oh, right. And
Yeah.
like kids throw toys or something. That's not
But
this
that's
episode.
another
Yeah,
episode
yeah.
of this podcast. Go look that one up. It's pretty fun. The audio is probably terrible on it, but whatever. So we essentially did 3 different possible movies for this
Yeah,
one.
not bad.
Yeah, and I think you can just, make those decisions yourself. Like,
Yeah, which one are you gonna go see?
yeah.
We're gonna release all 3 of them. Sam Elliott's gonna get 3 paychecks, and
Good for him.
yeah,
Yeah, we've got
and
Toad
maybe
House,
we'll get out of this basement. from it,
Tadpolar,
so.
and Smart Gay Frogs.
And smart gay frogs. Yeah,
Smart
there you
gay
go.
frogs.
There's so much value that we bring in every episode.
And if this doesn't release us from this basement, I don't know what would.
I don't know what will.
Wow, wow, wow.
Sam Elliott,
Let's
save us.
see.
What are we doing next time?
So I have 2 choices here. I really wanted to pick a movie, and
2 options is 1 choice, actually. If there's 2 options, it's 1 choice.
Right. But I do want to throw these your way and see how y'all feel about them.
Okay.
These are 2 movies I've never seen that I really feel like I should. The first one is Maximum Overdrive. from 1986.
Okay.
Okay. And the next one is called The Skateboard Kid from 1993. You can't find The Skateboard Kid any other place than YouTube, which kind of sucks. But
I love the poster for this movie.
This
kid's awesome.
It's not the kid, it's the skateboard, I guarantee
kid.
it.
Oh man. That is incredibly close. Oh, wow. Yeah, the poster.
Is that you?
It's incredibly close to another movie that we've done on this show before Jett joined us. The Dirt Bike Kid. Which I was thinking about literally the other day. I was like, it'd be fun to have Jett watch The Dirt Bike Kid, because that movie is, I hate to keep using the same word, but incredibly unhinged. So...
I would probably lean towards Maximum Overdrive. But...
Yeah, you know what? Let's say Maximum Overdrive too, because I think I would want to revisit the Dirt Bike Kid before we did the Skateboard Kid.
Okay,
fascinating.
Yeah, that's fine with me. So Maximum Overdrive, I don't know where to find that yet. I haven't actually looked it up. But if you listeners want to be involved in our next episode, go ahead and watch Maximum Overdrive at your leisure. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been very nice. I appreciate it. I'm sure the other two appreciate it.
Oh, wow. That's so complimentary. I do appreciate it.
I don't care about the audience.
If I can just make one person in the world smile from art that I've made, it was worth it all.
Well, bold of you to call this art.
I do. If you mean it, it's art.
So if this movie frees us from our contract in this basement, then you will not get another episode. But if we are not freed, then you should expect at least one more. Roger,
I just got word.
Yeah.
Smart Gay Frogs, Toad House, and Tadpole have all been not greenlit.
Oh,
so we're gonna have to,
damn it! No!
We're gonna have to try again
Shit!
with Maximum Override. Overdrive, whatever.
I'm not even gonna get
I told you we should have mocapped Sam Elliott!
All right, we'll see you guys next time on Sequel Factory for
tale.
part 2.
The sequel
continued.
No!
Okay.
Bye.
Not an episode to sleep to.
No. I'm gonna wake up to that. What a nightmare.